Do you know the true story behind Noah's Ark? Inja Noah, the real story behind the Ark, so we're going to uncover the surprising and lesser-known details of this monumental biblical event. Get ready to discover the depth and spiritual significance of Noah's faith and obedience in the face of a seemingly impossible divine mission. In this video, we'll explore the historical and spiritual context in which Noah lived, understanding the challenges he faced and the incredible faith he demonstrated by building the ark. You'll learn how this story isn't just about a flood, but about unwavering trust in God, perseverance in times of adversity, and the importance of obedience. This revealing journey promises to bring new perspectives and inspiration to your spiritual life. Are you curious about how Noah's story can enrich your own faith and resilience? Want to discover practical lessons of courage and devotion that can be applied to your daily life? Then stay with us and explore the real story behind Noah's Ark, a narrative that continues to inspire and strengthen the faith of millions around the world. Let's embark together on this journey of faith and discovery. Before the flood, the world was steeped in corruption and violence. The Bible describes humanity as deeply corrupted, with every intention and thought focused on evil continually. This perversity manifested in violent and immoral behavior, where justice and goodness were rare. Seeing humanity's rampant wickedness, God regretted creating man and decided a complete purification of the earth was necessary. The earth was filled with violence and injustice. People committed violent acts against each other, completely ignoring God's ways. Corruption was not limited to actions, but also tainted the hearts and minds of the people. Society had strayed so far from divine teachings that wickedness had become the norm. Amid this dark scenario, goodness and obedience were almost non-existent. God observed the increasing depravity and decided the world needed a fresh start. He determined that he would send a flood to destroy all living creatures and purify the earth. However, amidst all this corruption, there was a beacon of hope: Noah. God saw something special in Noah, something that set him apart from the rest. Noah was a righteous and blameless man in his generation, and he walked with God. Noah, his wife, his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives formed a family distinguished by their faithfulness to God. Noah was a man of faith and obedience, qualities that earned him divine favor. He remained faithful to God's principles, even when everyone around him had strayed from the righteous path. This righteousness and commitment to justice were why Noah found favor in God's eyes. Noah's family was small compared to the population of the time, but their faith and dedication to God made them unique. While most people lived according to their corrupt desires, Noah and his family followed God's commandments. They stood out in a world filled with moral darkness, maintaining their faith and integrity. This fundamental difference preserved them from the impending destruction. God communicated to Noah his intention to send a flood and gave him specific instructions to build an ark. Noah, being a man of exemplary obedience, followed all of God's instructions without question. He began the construction of the ark, a gigantic project that required faith and perseverance. Building the ark itself was an act of faith, as it had never rained in a way that would suggest the need for such a vessel. Noah's faithfulness during the construction of the ark is a testimony to his unwavering trust in God. Even when people around him probably mocked and doubted him, Noah continued to work, following every detail of the divine instructions. He knew that God was faithful and that the flood would come as promised. This deep conviction sustained Noah through the years of hard work building the ark. Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, also showed obedience and faith by following their father's directions and helping to build the ark. Together, the family worked in unity, preparing for the day God would send the flood. They gathered supplies, food, and provided shelter for the animals as God had instructed. This family unity and collaboration were crucial for the success of Noah's mission. Finally, when the flood was about to begin, Noah and his family entered the ark, bringing with them pairs of all the animals as God had instructed. This moment marked the culmination of their faith and obedience. They fully trusted God for their protection and salvation as the world around them prepared to be purified by the waters. Noah, his family, and the animals were now safe inside the ark, awaiting the beginning of the flood. The story of Noah and his family before the flood offers us important lessons about faith, obedience, and perseverance. In a corrupt world, Noah stayed faithful to God, which is why he was chosen to be the instrument for a new beginning for humanity. His story is a powerful example of how faith and obedience to God can lead to salvation, even in times of great adversity and wickedness. God gave Noah detailed instructions to build the ark, a project of great importance to save his family and many animals from the impending flood. According to the Bible, God ordered Noah to build the ark with cypress wood, a sturdy and durable material. He also provided precise dimensions. The ark should be 300 cubits long, 50 cubits wide, and 30 cubits high. These measurements correspond to approximately 450 feet long, 75 feet wide, and 45 feet high. In addition to the dimensions, God specified that the ark should have 3 decks, providing enough space for all the animals and necessary supplies. The ark also needed a roof extending 1 cubit above the structure for ventilation. God instructed Noah to make a door on the side of the ark, facilitating the entry of animals and people. These details showed God's intent to ensure the safety and well-being of everyone on board during the flood. Noah was tasked with sealing the ark inside and out with pitch, a type of tar used to waterproof the wood. This was crucial to keep the ark afloat and protect its occupants from the floodwaters. Every detail of God's instructions aimed to ensure that the ark could withstand the force of the waters and fulfill its purpose of saving lives. Building the ark was no easy task, and Noah's effort was monumental. He worked tirelessly to gather the necessary materials and build the massive structure according to the divine specifications. This process required not only carpentry skills, but also incredible dedication and patience. Noah's unwavering faith in God gave him the strength and determination needed to complete this Herculean task. During the construction of the ark, Noah faced skepticism and ridicule from his contemporaries. The Bible does not detail all of Noah's social interactions, but it is reasonable to assume that many around him did not believe in the imminent flood. They likely viewed the construction of a massive vessel on dry land as foolish. However, Noah remained faithful to God's instructions and continued his work undeterred by negative opinions. Noah's obedience is an example of total trust in God. He followed the divine instructions precisely, demonstrating a faith that did not waver in the face of adversity. Noah knew that God had a greater plan and that his role was to fulfill his part, even if others did not understand or support his actions. His faithfulness highlights the importance of following divine guidance, even when we do not fully understand or when we face opposition. Noah also had to coordinate the collection of supplies and food to sustain his family and all the animals during their time on the ark. This included storing grains, fruits, vegetables, and other non-perishable foods, as well as ensuring sufficient water for everyone. The logistics involved in this preparation were complex, but Noah trusted that God would provide and enable him to meet all the requirements. Noah's faith was rewarded when the flood finally came, exactly as God had predicted. The ark was ready, and all the occupants were safely inside. The meticulous construction and detailed preparation ensured that the ark floated and protected its precious cargo from the devastating waters. Noah and his family witnessed God's faithfulness and the importance of obeying his instructions. The story of Noah and the construction of the ark teaches us valuable lessons about faith, obedience, and perseverance. Noah trusted God completely and followed his instructions, even when it seemed irrational to others. His willingness to follow the divine will, despite the difficulties, is a powerful example for all of us. This narrative reminds us that by trusting in God and obeying His guidance, we can overcome great challenges and be instruments of His will. Ultimately, the story of Noah is a celebration of divine faithfulness and human faith. The construction of the ark was an act of obedience that saved lives and demonstrated God's power and mercy. Noah became a symbol of unwavering faith and unconditional obedience, inspiring generations to trust in God and follow His instructions, no matter the circumstances. The beginning of the flood was a time of great anticipation and fear. According to the Bible, God instructed Noah to enter the ark with his family and the selected animals. Noah obeyed, bringing his wife, his sons, and his sons' wives into the safety of the ark. He also led pairs of all animals, both clean and unclean, into the ark, following God's instructions. Once everyone was on board, God shut the door, sealing them inside. Soon after, the waters began to cover the earth. The Bible describes how the springs of the great deep burst forth and the floodgates of the heavens opened, bringing a relentless torrent of rain. The intensity and persistence of the rain were extraordinary, quickly flooding the earth. The sound of the waters and the constant rain created an apocalyptic atmosphere for those left outside, while Noah and the ark's occupants waited and prayed for safety. The flood lasted for 40 days and 40 nights, with continuous rain completely altering the earth's landscape. During this period, the waters rose, covering all the high mountains and destroying everything in their path. The sheer force and volume of water were so great that no living being outside the ark survived. The devastation was total, marking the end of a corrupted era and the promise of a new beginning. While the floodwaters raged, the ark floated on the waters, protecting Noah, his family, and the animals. Despite the violent storms, the ark, built according to divine specifications, remained secure and stable. Inside the ark, Noah and his companions cared for the animals and maintained their hope that God would fulfill his promise to save those on board. The Bible recounts that after the 40 days of rain, the waters remained on the earth for a while, but eventually began to recede. Noah and the ark's occupants waited patiently, trusting that God would indicate when it was safe to leave. Gradually, the waters receded, and the ark finally came to rest. It landed on Mount Ararat, a mountainous region that became a symbol of hope and renewal. With the ark settled on Mount Ararat, Noah began the process of determining if it was safe to leave. He first released a raven, which flew back and forth, indicating that the waters had not yet fully receded. Then, Noah sent out a dove, which initially returned without finding a place to perch. A week later, he released the dove again, and it returned with an olive leaf in its beak, a sign that the waters had receded and vegetation was beginning to reappear. Finally, when Noah released the dove a third time and it did not return, he knew that the land was dry enough to leave the ark. God then instructed Noah to exit the ark with his family and all the animals. They emerged into a transformed world, a new beginning under God's promise. The sense of relief and gratitude must have been immense as Noah and the others stepped onto dry land again. After leaving the ark, Noah's first action was to build an altar and offer sacrifices to God in thanks for their salvation. God accepted Noah's sacrifice and made a covenant with him, promising never to destroy the earth with a flood again. As a sign of this covenant, God placed a rainbow in the sky, a visible promise of his faithfulness and mercy. The impact of the flood was profound and long-lasting. It marked the end of an era of corruption and the beginning of a new phase for humanity. The story of the flood and Noah's Ark became one of the most well-known and iconic stories in the Bible, symbolizing both God's justice and mercy. It serves as a powerful reminder of the importance of obedience, faith, and trust in God. In summary, the flood and Noah's story represent a transformative event in biblical history. From the beginning of the rains to the receding waters and the renewal of the earth, each moment is filled with spiritual significance and practical lessons. Noah's story continues to inspire and teach generations about God's faithfulness and the importance of following his instructions, no matter the circumstances. After a long period of waiting, the rain finally stopped, and the waters began to recede. Noah and his family, along with the animals, were eager to leave the ark. They remained patient until the land was dry enough to walk on safely. When God instructed them to leave, Noah opened the door of the ark, and everyone could finally see dry land again. With great joy and relief, Noah, his wife, his sons, and their wives stepped out of the ark. The animals, both large and small, also began to exit, each according to its kind. It was a moment of renewed hope and new opportunities. They were grateful to have been saved from the great flood. As soon as everyone was out, Noah felt the need to express his deep gratitude to God. He built an altar and offered sacrifices of thanksgiving, choosing some of the clean animals that were with him on the ark. The smoke from the sacrifice rose to the heavens, and the aroma pleased God. God saw Noah's devotion and gratitude and was pleased. Noah and his family understood that they had been spared for a reason, and that sacrifice symbolized the beginning of a new era for humanity. It was a moment of spiritual renewal and reconnection with the Creator. After the sacrifices, God spoke to Noah and made an important covenant. He promised never to destroy the earth with a flood again. This was a pact of peace and security for all humanity. God knew that humans needed hope and confidence in the future. To seal this promise, God created an everlasting symbol, the rainbow. Whenever it rained and a rainbow appeared in the sky, it would serve as a visual reminder of the covenant between God and all creation. The rainbow represented the promise that despite difficulties, total destruction would not come again through the waters. God also gave instructions to Noah and his sons, telling them to be fruitful and multiply, filling the earth once more. It was a mission to restore and care for the world, living according to divine principles. They had the responsibility to protect and preserve life on earth. The covenant with Noah marked the beginning of a new relationship between God and humanity. It brought a new understanding of divine mercy and love. The promise of the rainbow served as a symbol of ongoing hope, a reminder that despite challenges, God was with them. Noah and his family continued their lives, always remembering the covenant made with God. They worked to rebuild their lives and the land around them, carrying with them the assurance that they would not face another devastating flood. The rainbow, whenever it appeared, reinforced this trust and security. Thus, the story of Noah and God's covenant became a legacy for all future generations. It teaches about the importance of gratitude, faith, and hope. The covenant symbolized by the rainbow continues to inspire people around the world, reminding us of God's commitment to humanity.